from waves in today's class. The first problem, a string of mass 2.5 kg under a tension of 200 newtons. The length of the stretched string is 20 meter. If a transverse jerk is struck at one end of the string, how long does the disturbance take to reach the other end? So this is the string here. Mass of this one 2.5 kg and tension in the string is equal to 200 newtons and the length of the string is 20 meters. So when the jerk is struck here, how long it will take for this jerk to move from one end to the other end? So velocity is equal to length by time. Time is equal to length of the string by velocity in the jerk. So this time is given by length 20 meter. So what is this velocity? Velocity is equal to root over t by mu. That is the velocity of the transverse produced on a string. So V is equal to root t, that is 200 newtons. Mu is equal to 2.5 by 20. 2.5 by 20, that is mass by length. So this will become 200 into, this is 2.5 by 20 given as 5 by 2 into 20. So this is root over 200 by 5 by 40 or 40 by 5. So 5 ones, 5 fours 20, 0. So this is 40 into 40, this will be 40 meter per second. So velocity is equal to 40, 0 is cancel, 1 by 2 seconds or 0.5 seconds. A stone dropped from the top of a tower of height 300 meters high flashes into a water of a pond near the base of the tower. So this is the tower, this is the pond here. Now the height of this one is 300 meters. A stone is dropped here. Given sound velocity V is equal to, when it strikes the water, only the sound wave will travel here. So here what they are asking, given when is the splash is heard to the top. So first stone is falling down. When stone is dropped, we know that it is falling under gravity. So x is equal to, as the initial velocity, as it is dropped, initial velocity is 0. This is half gt square, half into 9.8 into t square, which is equal to 4.9 t square. The height of this tower is 300 meters. So 300 is equal to 4.9 t square. So t square is equal to 300 by 4.9 or t is equal to root over 300 by 4.9 or 3000 by 49. So this is 3000 by 49 under root is 7. Now what is this root 3000? Root 3000 is given by 54.77. 54.77 by 7. This is equal to 7.82 seconds. So this is the time taken by this stone to reach the water. Then now it will travel this much distance. So for this how much time is required? So to fall it took 7.82. For the sound to reach, now in the second step, when the sound is traveling up, so we will write velocity of the sound is equal to distance by time t dash. Velocity of sound is 340. Length to be travelled by the sound is 300 by t dash. So t dash is equal to 300 by 340. 30 by this one, 15 by 17. So this is 15 divided by 17, 0.882 seconds. Now what is the total time taken by this sound to reach this person? So while going down for the stone it will take 7.82. For the sound to come up to take 0.82. So total time taken is given by t plus t dash, which is equal to T is equal to 7.82 plus 0.882 plus 7.82, which is equal to 8.7 seconds. Problem. A transverse harmonic wave on a string is described with the equation y is equal to 3 sin omega t plus kx plus phi. So here omega is equal to 36, k is equal to 0.018, where x and y are in centimeter, t is in seconds. Find the speed, direction of propagation, last distance, this is not last, least distance between the two successive crests in the wave. Here in this equation, we have, first we need to find out the speed. So omega is equal to 36 is equal to 2 pi f, 2 ones to 2 18s. So f is equal to 18 by pi, equation 1. And in the second case, k is equal to 0.018, this is 2 pi by lambda. So 2 ones to 2 zeros, 0.9. So lambda is equal to pi by 0.009. This is equation 2. So once you get frequency and wavelength, we can find the speed v is equal to f lambda, that is 18 by pi into pi by 0.009. Pi cancel, 18 by 9 into 10 power minus 3. So this is 2 into 10 power minus 3 or 2 millimeter per second. So this is the speed of the transverse harmonic wave. Then direction of the propagation. If it is omega t minus kx along positive x-axis, this is omega t plus kx. So this is along negative x-axis. So negative x-axis. Third one, least distance between two crests, that is nothing but wavelength, and wavelength here I got it as this one. So lambda is equal to pi by 0.009. This is in centimeters here, so I have to write this as centimeters, and here also, as all these values are in centimeters, and here also velocity, this is not in this one, this is 2 into 10 minus 3 centimeter per second, or 2 into 10 power minus 5 meter per second. One, a steel wire has a length of 12 meter and a mass of 2.1 kg. What should be the tension in the string so that the speed of the transverse wave on the wire is equal to the speed of sound in dry air at 20 degrees centigrade is 343 meter per second. Here on the equal to the speed of sound in dry air. Now the speed of this transverse wave is root t by mu, which is equal to 343 meter per second. So here they are asking us to find out the tension here. So tension T by linear density mass by length 2.5 by 12, which is equal to 343. Now squaring on both sides, T into 12 by 2.1 is equal to 343 into 343. Now this can be written as 12 divided by 343 divided by 2.1, which is equal to 5.71. So this is 5.71 T is equal to 343 into 343, which is equal to 117649. So the tension is equal to 117649 by 5.71 divided by 5.71, which is given by T is equal to 20,604 newtons. A pipe of 20 centimeters long, so this is a pipe of 20 centimeter length here, is closed at one end, so this is closed at one end. Which harmonic mode of the pipe is resonantly with the excited frequency of 430 Hz? For a closed pipe, we know the closed pipe harmonics. So for a closed pipe, this length is equal to, this is antinode and node. So this length must be equal to lambda by 4, lambda is equal to 4L. So frequency is V by 4L, then 3V by 4L, 5V by 4L, so on, NV by 4L. So which of this frequency equal to the 430? So I am going to this compare this NV by 4L is equal to 430. N is unknown, velocity of sound is 340 by 4 into length 20 centimeter or 0.2, which is equal to 430. This 0 0 get cancels. So from this we can write N must be equal to, N is equal to 43 into 4 into 0.2 by 34 here. So this is 43 into 4 into 0.2 divided by 34. So this value will be 1.01 or nearly equal to 1. So this is the first harmonic. So which harmonic means? Answer is first harmonic only. Now will the same source be in resonance with the pipe if both ends are open? Let us say, let me take the open pipe here. For a open pipe frequencies are V by 2L, 2V by 2L, 3V by 2L and so on, NV by 2L. So let me write NV by 2L is equal to this 430. So N is equal to 430 into L is equal to 0.2 by V is equal to 340, 0 0 cancel. So this is 43 into 0.4 by 34. So this is 43 into 0.4, which is equal to 17.2 divided by 34. So this is 17 by 34. So this is half. N cannot be a fraction, so it will not be in resonance with this open pipe. Sonometer wire of under tension 9 Newton emits a note of 1 frequency 240. If tension increases to frequency of the fundamental note, emitted will be 320. Calculate the increase in tension. So N is equal to 1 by 2L root T by mu, or frequency F is equal to. Here F denoted root T. So F1 by F2 is equal to root T1 by T2. The initial frequency was 240, final frequency 320. So this is 240 by 320 is equal to root over this tension initially 9. So what is the new tension? This you can cancel. Now this is 8 3s and 8 4s, squaring on both sides. 9 by 16 is equal to 9 by T2. T2 is equal to 16. But they are asking increase in tension. Initial tension was 9, present tension is 16. So change in tension, that is T2 minus T1 is 16 minus 9, which is equal to 7 newtons. Find the temperature at which the velocity of sound in air is twice the velocity of at 0 degrees. According to Newton's law, V is equal to root P by rho. But according to Laplace formula, V is equal to root gamma P by rho. But this P by rho, we know that PV is equal to nRT. This PV is equal to mass by gram molecular to RT. So P is equal to M by mass. This volume will come here, RT. Mass by volume is called density. P is equal to RT by M into rho. So P by rho is equal to RT by M. So in this formula, if you replace this P by rho with RT by M, so velocity of sound in air is given by gamma RT by M. So gamma is constant as air is taken as a diatomic gas, or universal gas constant, M is molecular matter gas. So V relative to root T. So this is absolute temperature. So velocity at 0 by velocity at temperature is equal to root over 0 plus 273, 0 degrees. This is T plus 273. But this velocity is twice the velocity at 0 degrees. So we can write V naught by this Vt is equal to 2 V naught is equal to root over 273 by T plus 273. This get cancel. 1 by 4 is equal to root over 273 by T plus 273. So this is 1 by 4. So square root will not be there. Now cross multiply this one. This is 1 by 2 whole square 1 by 4. Now 273 into 4. This is 1092 is equal T plus 273. T is equal to 1092 minus 273 minus 273 is equal to 819. So this is 819 degrees Celsius. eighth problem and the last problem of first PUC. A whistle of frequency 256 Hz is blown from a train. So this is a train. So this is producing a whistle of frequency 256 Hz. Now, while it is approaching a platform with a velocity 72 kmph, find the frequency of the whistle as held by the observer standing on the platform. So he is the observer who is standing at the platform. So velocity of observer is 0. What is the velocity of sound in air? It is given as 340. For this Doppler effect, the frequency felt by the observer is called V minus V naught by V minus Vs into F. So this is the fundamental formula. Now, as the observer is at rest, so this will become 0, and sound is traveling from left to right in the diagram. This is V, and the source is also moving in the same direction. So relative velocity will be V minus Vs. Already it is given as V minus Vs. So F dash is equal, this is velocity of sound 340, observed velocity 0, this is 340, relative velocity between these two. This velocity of sound is given as 72 kmph. So 72 into 5 by 18, 18 force. Velocity of source is only 20 meter per second into the actual frequency of this one is given as 256. So this is the 340 by 320 into 256. This is 16s and 17s. So 17 by 16 into 256. So this is 17 divided by 16, 1 point into 256. This is equal to 272 Hertz. Hi students, this is the first lesson of our first PUC syllabus. Actually, I have to start with this lesson, but due to some limitations, I am going to complete our syllabus today with this first lesson known as this physical world. So what is this physical world? First of all, in this physical world, we are going to learn about the science. What is science? So we can give so many definitions for science, but the actual definition of science is, it is an organized, systematic and formulated knowledge. So this knowledge is obtained through observations, by doing some experiments, and also by verifying whether it is correct or not. That means, let us say we know the formula F is equal to ma. So this is given by Newton by observing different masses having different accelerations. After that, he did some experiments. When he applied a small force, acceleration was small. When he applied a large force, acceleration was large. So this is by using some experiments. After that, he verified it with the different formulas, that is F is equal to m into V minus u by t. So whether we can apply this one when the velocities are given and the time are given, and also F is equal to m into, this is V square minus u square by 2s. So he verified this formula with the different concepts. So this is called verification, this one. So science is organized and systematic knowledge that we obtain by using these observations, experiments and verifications. Now, after that, what is physics? In the science can be divided into physics, chemistry, mathematics, biology. So what is physics? Physics is the branch of science which deals with nature and natural phenomena. So this deals with nature and natural phenomena. What is this nature and what are the natural phenomena that takes place in this nature? Sun rises in the east and sets in the west. So this is a natural phenomena. Earthquake is a natural phenomena. So all these phenomena will be dealt in physics. Now physics can be divided into two domains actually. The first one is macroscopic, second one is microscopic. What is this macro? Macro means big science and micro is a small one. So this includes atomic, molecular and nuclear phenomena. What are these atomic phenomena? What are these molecular phenomena? What are these nuclear phenomena? So if you take this H plus Cl minus gives HCl. Even though it is chemistry, we call it as chemistry, but this is atomic physics. So then nuclear phenomena like nuclear fission. See, nuclear fission, we used these atom bombs. We prepared atom bombs by using nuclear fission reactions, and we used it on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in Second World War also. But what is this macroscopic? Includes phenomena, laboratory, terrestrial, and astronomical scale. Terrestrial means on the surface of Earth. Astronomical means in the sky, in the space. And laboratory, in lab also when you are doing these experiments, let us say on an inclined plane, if a body is placed, it falls down. So this is a macroscopic study. Microscopic means we will see the atoms or molecules and why it is coming down, why there exists a friction between this and this. That is called a microscopic study. So this is about physics. So physics is nothing but nature and natural phenomena. Now the next topic is why do you understand by the term, what do you understand by the term scientific method? See, if you want to give something to this world, suppose if you want to give a law, just like law of conservation of energy or Newton's law of cooling, anything. So for this we have some steps. So after following these steps only we can give a formula or a concept or a theory or a law to the world. In that it includes the systematic observation. Best example, simple example, sun rises in the east, sun sets in the west. So this is observed by so many times by the people. So systematically they observe that early morning around 5:40 sun is rising in the month of March. But in the month of December, it is rising around 6:20 a.m. That means the time of rising will be different. So systematically observed for long years, not once. Then controlled experiments. So they did some experiments on that one. So what happens if the sun does not rise at all? On a cloudy day, we cannot see the sun rise. Similarly, at what time it is going to set? So with that experiments, they tried to find the time also by using the sun clocks. Then qualitative as well as quantitative reasoning. So here, if you take this same case, the qualitative means what is the qualitative and what is the quantitative. For example, if you take force, it has two definitions. Each and every physical quantity will have two definitions. So one is qualitative definition, one is quantitative definition. Quantitative definition gives the quantity, F is equal to ma. F is equal to ma. This is called quantitative definition of this one. But what is force? Any physical quantity that changes or tends to change the position of a body is called force. That is quality. That means it gives the quality of this physical quantity. After that, mathematical modeling. Then what is this mathematical modeling? Suppose if you want to make a Carnot engine and heat engine, first of all we need to make a small model and we need to see whether this model works or not. So after that we will predict that one whether it is useful or not. Then we will verify or falsification. Verification means if it is okay, then we will call it as a good model, and sometimes it may fail. This is a bad model, just like our coronavirus. So in coronavirus also we have these 6 steps. The first one, systematically we have to observe that virus and then controlled experiments. So then we will add some chemicals so that to control it or to kill it. Then qualitative and quantitatively we have to find the reasoning, how much dose is required and for which age we need to give how much medicine. So then mathematically we need to model it. One model has to be given and it should be tested, and then we will predict each and every, we have 3 different phases, and each and every phase we have to predict it, its results. After that we will verify, and finally whether we have to give it to the world or not, or whether we need to stop it. So this is a falsification. So whenever this is not working, that model or that medicine or that vaccine, whatever it may be, if it is not working, we call it as a falsification. If it is working, then we will verify it and we will make a more number of vaccines like that. Then this is called systematic method. Then what are the basic forces in the universe? If you ask this question, students used to tell so many forces. But remember students, in this universe we have only 4 forces. Only 4 forces. All other forces are derivations of these forces only. The first one, gravitational force. What is this gravitational force? The force of attraction between two bodies, two masses in this universe is called a gravitational force, and the force between earth and moon, force between sun and moon, sun and earth, these are all due to gravitational force. And then electromagnetic force. So this is because of the attractive or repulsive force properties between two charges, between charged particles, but this is 10 power 36 times greater than the gravitational force. Then strong nuclear force. The nuclear force that binds all these protons and neutrons together is called strong nuclear force. This is 100 times stronger than this force. That is 10 power 38 times the gravitational force. Then, but the condition is, it is a short range force. It exists between protons and neutrons only if the distance is less than 1 Fermi. This is 10 to minus 15 meters is called 1 Fermi. And the nucleus is stable because of this strong nuclear force. And the weak nuclear force, the force appears only in certain nuclear reactions, is known as weak nuclear force. In beta decay, when the nucleus emits this electron and neutrino, this is weaker than this strong nuclear force and the electromagnetic force. Its range is around 10 to minus 16 meters only. So this is also short range force. These two are short range forces. This is a long range force here, and this is a too large. Now the next topic is explain the conservation laws in physics. So we have 5 different conservation laws in physics. The first one, law of conservation of charge. So according to this, charge neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one body to another body. So this charge can be transferred from one body to another body. So this is called a law of conservation of charge. Second one, law of conservation of mass energy. So we know that this famous equation given by Einstein, mass can be converted into energy or energy can be converted into mass. So mass and energy are interchangeable, but total energy of the system as well as total mass of the system remains constant. Third one, law of conservation of energy. We know this, we studied this in the work power energy lesson. Here, energy neither be created nor be destroyed, but can be transferred from one form to another form. Suppose if you give electric current, electrical energy to a fan, fan converts this electrical energy into mechanical energy. Then law of conservation of linear momentum. This we studied in the same lesson. m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equal m1 v1 plus m2 v2. That is, total linear momentum before collision is equal to total linear momentum after collision. That means the total linear momentum system remains constant. So this is called law of conservation of linear momentum. And then law of conservation of angular momentum. When an external force acting on this system is 0. Remember, law of conservation of momentum can be applied only if the external force acting system is 0. Similarly, what is law of conservation of angular momentum? When the external torque acting system on 0, then the net torque is net angular momentum is constant. That is, L1 is equal to L2, I1 omega 1 is equal to I2 omega 2. This we studied in system of particles and rotational motion. So I think you got the idea why I am teaching this lesson at last. Why? Because after learning some basic concepts in our first PUC syllabus, now it is easy for us to tell what is this law of conservation of momentum, what is law of conservation of angular momentum, and what is this law of conservation of energy. Why? Because already these topics were completed in the previous videos. That's why it is easy for me to explain about this one. Then the next one is the relation between physics and other branches of science. See, physics is related to mathematics, the first one. The theories and the concepts of physics lead to the development of various mathematical tools like differential equations and of motion. So we studied this one also. We know that the velocity is equal to derivative of displacement with respect to time, and the acceleration is equal to derivative of velocity with respect to r, d square x by dt square. So there is a relation between. So without mathematical knowledge, it is not possible for any student to get good marks in physics also. Now, physics relation with chemistry. So the concept of the interaction between the various particles leads to the understanding of the bonding and chemical structure of a substance. The concept of X-ray diffraction that we are going to study in the second PUC, and radioactivity, second PUC has helped to distinguish between the various solids and modify the periodic tables. So in this concept we are going to learn about Moseley's law in second PUC, and automatically then this physics in relation with biology. So here in biology, if you go to a hospital, first the patient will be tested with temperature testing, then this checking of blood pressure. So automatically if the person is suffering with some other diseases, then they may ask us to go for x-rays. So here gamma rays are also used in curing some skin diseases. So this is microscopes are also uses the principle of physics only. So this is physics in relation with biology. Then the next one is other physics in relation with geology. So this radioactivity helps us to find the ages of these dinosaurs and also age of these old animals and species. So then after that, physics in relation with meteorology, study of variation of pressure with temperature helps us to forecast the weather. So in weather forecasting also we need physics. So by measuring the pressure, we can by measuring pressure as well as temperature, we can forecast the weather. Then physics in relation with seismology. So seismology means during earthquake, the movement of the earth crust and the types of waves produced help us to study the earthquakes and their effects. Then physics in relation with astronomy. So here these optical telescopes has made it possible to the motions of various planets and the satellites in our solar system. So without these telescopes, it is not possible for us to study this solar system. Then similarly, radio telescope has developed helped in study of the structure of our galaxy and to discover pulsars as well as quasars. Then the next topic is name of the scientist and major contribution. Remember students, the weightage for this lesson is only 1 mark. In 1 mark, previously they asked this question, define science, define physics, 1 mark questions. Then third question given was, they will give one of the contribution of a scientist who discovered wave theory of light. Okay, who discovered electron. So like this they will give this tables. That's why they will give this type of questions. That's why better to remember this one. So we know that already in our studies we studied some of these points. The first one, Archimedes principle of buoyancy, that we studied in the case of this fluids lesson, and Galileo discovered the law of inertia. So what is inertia and the types of inertia was explained by Galileo. Then Huygens explained wave theory of light. According to Huygens, light is a wave. According to Newton, light is a particle. Then Newton, according to Newton, he discovered universal law of gravitation that we studied in a gravitation lesson. And then laws of motion, the complete lesson is laws of motion, and reflecting telescope that we are going to study in the second PUC. Then Michael Faraday, that you might have studied in 10th class itself, that is laws of electromagnetic induction, EMI. Then Maxwell proposed this electromagnetic theory and light as an electromagnetic wave. So according to Newton, light was a particle. According to Huygens, light was a wave. According to Maxwell, light is electromagnetic wave. According to Huygens, light is a mechanical wave. It requires a medium. But according to Maxwell, this is a electromagnetic waves, non-mechanical wave, does not require any medium. That we studied in waves lesson. Then Heinrich Hertz discovered that generation of electromagnetic. He is the first person who generated this electromagnetic wave experimentally. Then J.C. Bose of India, he discovered this ultra short radio waves. So due to this, actually radio was discovered by Marconi itself, but he discovered waves of very short wavelength. So we know this formula in chemistry, E is equal to h nu hc by lambda. When the wavelength is less, energy will be more. So these waves can travel large distances. So J.C. Bose discovered the radio waves of shorter wavelengths which are having more energy and they can pass through more distances. Then J.J. Thomson discovered electron. After that, this Curie, Madame Curie discovered radium as well as polonium, studied natural reactivity. Then Einstein, he has explained the photoelectric effect as well as theory of relativity. So Einstein means we need to remember this PEG as well as theory of relativity. Then hence this cosmic radiation. Then Millikan measurement of charge of electron, that is charge is equal to 1.6 into 10 power minus 19 for electron. So this value was discovered, measured by R.A. Millikan of America. And then Ernest Rutherford, nuclear model of hydrogen atom you have studied in chemistry. So these are the points that you have to remember, and these questions can be given. Who discovered this electromagnetic theory? Answer is not required to write the entire name. Even if you mention here this Maxwell, that is enough. And one more question that is important in this lesson is, write any one basic force in the universe. Out of 4, you can write any one. So that is because the total weightage for the lesson is only 1 mark. And some more contributions by the scientists are, see, C.V. Raman of India, inelastic scattering of light, and De Broglie used this wave nature of light, and Saha of India, thermal ionization, and then S.N. Bose of India, quantum statistics, and Pauli, exclusive principle you might have studied in chemistry, and Fermi, this controlled nuclear pressure reaction which is used in nuclear reactors to produce current, and Heisenberg quantum mechanics and uncertainty principle you studied in chemistry, and Dirac relative theory of electron, quantum statistics, and Hubble you might have explained, you might have seen this expanding universe because universe is expanding slowly. So Hubble telescope also very, very important. And Ernest Lawrence, he produced this cyclotron that we are going to learn in second PUC. So these are the contributions of the scientists here. And then the link between this discoveries and this one will be continued here. Homi Bhabha, this cascade properties of cosmic radiation, and Landau, theory of condensed matter and liquid helium, he produced liquid helium, and Chandrasekhar of India, Chandrasekhar limit as well as structure and evolution of stars, and Bardeen, they produced this transistor for the first time. So due to this transistors only, the size of the TV has reduced, size of the computer has reduced now, and Towens, Maser and as well as laser, and then Abu Salam, unification of weak and electromagnetic interactions. Then the next topic and the last topic in this lesson is link between technology and physics. So which principle is used in the present technology? Steam engine, we know that is a law of thermodynamics, and what principle steam engine works. Then you have to mention that principle, that is one more question. And a nuclear reactor, control nuclear fission, already we studied about Fermi. Radio and television, that is generation, propagation and detection of electromagnetic waves, and computers uses this digital logic technology. Lasers use light amplification by stimulation emission of radiation. This is nothing but LASER, laser only. Then production of ultra high magnetic field is due to superconductivity, and rocket propulsion is due to loss of motion, first law, second law as well as third law. And electric generator works on the principle of Faraday's law of electromagnetic induction. And then aeroplane, we studied this in fluids lesson, when the aeroplane is flying in the sky. So due to the pressure difference between the upper and lower limit of an arm, so this aeroplane works on the Bernoulli's principle. And particle accelerators, motion of charged particles in electromagnetic fields, this we will study in second PUC. Sonar, reflection of ultrasonic sounds, and optical fibers, this also we will study in second PUC, total internal reflection. And you might have studied this total internal reflection in 10th class also. And then non-reflecting coatings, thin film optical instruments, second year. Electron microscope, wave nature of electrons, second year. Photocell, photocell, second year. Fusion test reactor, and that uses magnetic confinement of plasma. So this is not in our syllabus, but these are all in second years. And the giant microwave radio telescope, detection of cosmic radio waves, and Bose-Einstein constant, trapping of cooling of atoms by laser beams. So after that, now this lesson is ended. So the end. So our syllabus is completed. We will meet again in the college when the college starts, when the government permits us to start the colleges. Thank you. Bye bye.